2 medals decided and 2 more apparatus to be contested. We go to the beam and finish traditionally, as always, with the floor exercise. Straight into the beam final. Viktoria Karpenko of the Ukraine, 3rd in the all-around competition. Karpenko has already taken a silver medal, as we've just seen in the uneven bars, but that's not the start that you need. A big wobble that could cost the gold once again.
Yes, that cost her the gold, I think, in the all-around event. She had a huge wobble on beam, and in a couple of the Grand Prix events she's missed the mount. She's really got to get over the lack of confidence that she's feeling on that mount at the moment. I think that by the time the Sydney Olympics come, she'll have changed it. It's got too many bad memories for her. Quite interestingly, gymnastics in the 4 disciplines, vault has really improved, bars have improved, tumbles on floor have improved, but I think over the past decade the standard of the top gymnasts in the world on beam really has not improved a great deal. I can remember back in the early 80s Daniela Silovash producing very much this type of work. What has improved in standard is the ability to stay on the apparatus. It's much less of an emotional target. They're able to handle the pressure of what they can produce on beam far better. That's a brilliant dismount. Round off, flick, double back tuck. Certainly that particular skill, not a common factor in the 80s, but neither is it now. She's the only one in these championships producing that particular dismount.
As we said earlier, looking to follow in the footsteps of the great Ukrainians who've got such a good track record at the Olympic Games. Tatiana Gutsu, Lilia Podkopaeva, the all-around Olympic champions from 92 and 96. But that was the early part of the routine that the judges will have no choice but to penalise. The dismount was exceptional, but not with the standards that we've been witnessing here over the past 2 or 3 days. Good enough for a gold medal.
That's the Corbett flick, innovated by Olga Corbett and produced with a full twist in nowadays. And there the dismount, the round off, flick flack, double back tuck somersault. Karpenko, very similar to Podkopaeva in temperament, quite cool and not ostentatious in her appearance and her emotions.
There we have confirmation of the first score, 9.587, gunning for gold medal number 4 in these Europeans. Team all around, uneven bars, and now looking for top spot. You can see, understandably, she's the crowd's favourite, Svetlana Khorkina.
And she is absolutely focused. Like Svetlana Boginskaya, she has the ability to compete on this apparatus. She will have a steely attitude towards this. She's hungry for another gold. Flick layout, flick, calmly produced. And of course her lithe figure adds an extra dimension of beauty to the work when it goes well. Change leg W into full twisting Shushinova, a move innovated by Elena Shushinova, the great Ukrainian gymnast, but it's now been transferred to beam, one of the few new skills that we're seeing in this era. Change leg split leap into W, jump into the full twisting Corbett. We saw Karpenko do it without the twist. And a very well constructed routine as regards tempo, because she goes from speed, she has a nice pace to arrest. And now just the dismount, her trademark, a brilliant cartwheel gainer, double twisting somersault. She really does power up from the beam from one leg, and that really was a splendid routine there from Svetlana Khorkina.
Really looking like Europe's finest, and the confidence is clearly there. The mindset was extraordinary at the beginning and on the dismount of the routine. And Svetlana Khorkina, well, she may breathe a sigh of relief, but to me that looks like gold number 4. A superb performance, and that dismount really is electrifying.
And the mount was so controlled. She really, you could see her looking for the beam all the way. But very precise, very springy beam. It looks a delight to work on. And she really does fulfill every skill to its maximum. A little bit of an arm bend on the corbett, but very difficult to execute the skill without arm bend, otherwise it's very painful. And the end of a series of skills. A lovely shape in the handstand to demonstrate her brilliant mobility. And there, the dismount, tight, arms held in precisely, right down to the precision of the landing. And the emotions don't go only when she gets to her coach, Boris Pilkin, and she gives him a quick cuddle. I think that she shows a sign of relief.
And there is a relief for many. 9.837, a little smile and a little nod, a little salute. She's happy with that, and it will take something very special indeed to better it, as Svetlana Khorkina moves ever closer to her 4th gold medal at these 23rd European Artistic Gymnastic Championships, and a nice smile too. Well, they say that she's been beckoned by the world of modelling and the world of movies after the Olympic Games in Sydney, and if it keeps going the way it is, the fairy tale story will more than likely continue for Svetlana Khorkina. She's just to watch a couple more, 3 more to be precise. Andrea Raducan, talented young Romanian gymnast. Now let's see if Andrea can get in the shake-up. If nothing else, I'm sure she'd be delighted just to be in the medals and on the podium with Khorkina.
Yes, I mean, that was a wonderful exercise, but there are some brilliant gymnasts yet to come. Andrea Raducan, one of the best gymnasts in the world, and certainly one of the best beam and floor workers in the world. She's young and she's still got a tremendous future ahead of her. Oh, well, what that could have been. She had surpassed Khorkina in difficulty by producing that full twisting back somersault, but then a huge wobble certainly put her out of the gold medal position and possibly out of the medals totally.
Well, the world silver medalist, again coming to the Europeans in the Olympic year, and will be disappointed. The World Championships in Tianjin in China last year.
But Sydney beckons all of these gymnasts, and movements like flick-flacks into full twisting back somersaults are going to be a necessity if they want to take gold. And Raducan has got all the raw material. Today she took the risk and it didn't quite come off, but had it have been produced perfectly, she could have overhauled Svetlana Khorkina. But you see, not only did she wobble, but she lost her bonus points, because if you have more than 2/10 penalty on a bonus skill, you lose the bonification. So a very costly error there.
We've been kind of giving the Romanians not a hard time, but we've certainly been questioning their tactical plan, often known to play safe rather than be risky, and sometimes almost not quite as creative as the Russians, almost playing it by the technical book rather than the creative book. But here's a youngster from the Romanian team that seems to be trying to develop a little bit of both.
Well, she has got both qualities. She has tremendous balance, because she was nearly off the beam. Many gymnasts would have fallen from that. They're the Cheng flick-flack, a very bodily skill, which is like the Corbett flick-flack, but produced by Cheng, a Chinese girl. Tucks first before the chest roll, and a very high front somersault there from Raducan. But yes, Nick, back to what you were saying. Of course, the Romanians have been on the top for so long, and now that they've been knocked off their pedestal, then it's interesting for us to offer perhaps possible observations like everybody else.
Well, of the 36 nations competing at these European Championships, the Russians have taken the team prize, and let's take a look at one of the top Ukrainian performers now. This is Olga Roschupkina. See if she can better that score that they're still chasing. Remember, the target has been set by Svetlana Khorkina, 9.837.
And another startling gymnast. Only 16 and really has a brilliant future. Well, she's just broken that combination she normally does, a free walkover into an immediate free cartwheel. So I think unless she has a similar combination later in the exercise, bang goes her 10 start value. Gain it into flick layout, into layout onto one leg. It's quite interesting that all of the Ukrainians have similar temperaments. Not easily rocked. They don't give away many of their emotions. Very cool. And even after 2 disastrous wobbles, really, this gymnast continues as positively as ever. Nice side somersault landed safely, and now she's ready for the dismount. The leap series, another of the special requirements, as is the 360-degree spin. The only other big acrobatic series to go is the dismount. Flick to 1, flick to 2, double back with a step back. Well, she stayed on the apparatus, but was very unfortunate that she broke the free walkover, free cartwheel combination and had one fairly big wobble and one huge wobble. And for a minute I thought she was going to cry.
Well, she took a bronze medal in the World Championships last year on the beam in the individual apparatus final. And again, another competitor that's possibly not doing her pre-Olympic preparations the best of good. She'll be disappointed, and she'll certainly not be amongst the medalists with that performance. Let's take another look at some of the key areas in the slow motion.
And just a little ankle rock there. Here the gainer flick into the somersault onto one leg. That was stable. It was after the front somersault where there was the biggest wobble.
Well, the judges given no choice to mark Roschupkina down for the mistakes. We're going to take a quick break from the action as she gets a 9.350. We'll be back with Simona Amanar of Romania after these short messages.
Jetzt gibt's einen heißeren Weg ins Internet. Aber egal, was du sonst noch mit dem Siemens C35i vorhast, be inspired. Das neue Siemens C35i.
Not so long ago, I'd have been considered an incurable romantic.
This woman is trying to prevent a fragile environment being destroyed by the search for oil and gas. She wants to preserve an area of outstanding natural beauty for future generations and protect the local culture from the shock of the new.
We believe it's possible to provide the energy the planet needs without ignoring the needs of the planet.
Despite this, she's not at war with the oil company. She is the oil company.
Dragon R+. Suzuki.
One finalist remains in the women's beam. Svetlana Khorkina is in the hot seat for her 4th gold medal. Her arch rival from Romania, Simona Amanar, who has had to settle for a runner-up position. Already in most of this competition, fair to say that Amanar and Khorkina were in a classic battle for the all-around. Amanar buckled under the pressure in the 4th and final rotation. So let's see if she can turn the tables and take revenge here, as Amanar looks to take top position away from Khorkina. 9.837 is the target score.
Historically, she's a very good performer under pressure on beam. It's usually bars where she lets herself down. Not the greatest stylist, but certainly very, very solid. There's 2 panels of judges, an A panel where there's an expert who has to notate the difficulty of the routines, and a B panel where they judge for the technical faults. And the expert judges had to reduce the last 3 gymnasts' start values from 10 to 9.7. So hope that Simona Amanar can break the trend and hit all of the movements she sets off to achieve. So far, she's as solid as a rock. A very positive attitude towards each skill. Very aggressive in all of her jumps. Yes, a great performance there from Simona Amanar. She wants to bury the impression that she cracks under pressure. It's very important that she doesn't have that legacy to take forward to the Sydney Olympics.
Well, she's certainly taken the challenge of Svetlana Khorkina. You can just see on the left of your screens there, sitting in the seat. We'll watch the scores very carefully indeed, as Simona Amanar, who's already taken a gold in the vault, remember, earlier on in our programme.
And that was really a super mount. Slight pause between the front somersault and the jumps. Had she been in a regional competition, she'd have had that docked. And for my money, her form doesn't represent a European champion, because in both of the somersaults she has a bent leg, and according to my book, it says that one loses 1/10 for a leg as bent as that. But certainly a very, very positive dismount. But just look at the shape during the double somersault, unlike that of Khorkina during her double somersault dismount from bars where her toes were stretched and knees were together.
And the judges agreed with you, Monica. 9.8, a silver medal for Simona Amanar, and 4 gold medals for Svetlana Khorkina. Superb performance again. 9.837 is the score that takes top spot, with the bronze going to Elena Zamolodchikova, 9.762. Lisa Mason from Great Britain finishing in 7th position. She's had a very impressive European Championships, and she too will have gathered and gained a lot of confidence as she prepares for the British bid in the Sydney 2000 Olympic Games. One exercise remains, and of course the traditional finale to all major competition is the floor exercise.